Well, a very, very, very big piracy website related to Nintendo Switch games has just been taken offline, and this was actually by the FBI. And along with that, there were a lot of other ROM-like websites that were also taken offline, and this was all kind of conducted in the same operation, it looks like. But this Nintendo Switch ROM website, this looks like it was the biggest one that was taken down. And I want to make it clear before I go into it, I do not support piracy, do not pirate games. We're purely just looking at what was taken down. So that one big website that I was talking about related to Nintendo Switch ROMs, this seems to be something called NSW2U.com. I believe it stands for Nintendo Switch 2U. And as you can see, if we Google it, it now says the website has been seized. So if we click on it, we see this right here. In case it wasn't in big enough words, it is now right on the top there. This website has been seized, it says again. And this is kind of just the standard FBI screen when the FBI takes down your website. So it says this domain has been seized by the FBI in accordance with a seizure warrant, which was issued by the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia as part of a law enforcement operation and action. I'm sure you can probably guess what the allegations are by the FBI here. I'm sure it has nothing to do with going 10 over the speed limit. No, it's obviously that this website hosted allegedly a bunch of Nintendo Switch game ROMs. Now, just to give a little bit more insight, Kotaku actually covered this, and they say according to users on the Switch Piracy subreddit, the site was still active earlier today. Although I want to point out this was yesterday, Thursday, July 10th, when they wrote this. I did click on the website, and as I showed you, it does look to me like it is completely taken offline. I'm sure it's actually taken offline for everybody at this point. So it says the NSW2U sites were first added to the EU piracy watch list back in May of this year, so just a couple months ago. The FBI and Nintendo, it says, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. But here's the thing, diving quite a bit deeper into it, I'm kind of surprised how much I had to dive. I actually did find an official statement from the FBI. They do give a few more details here. Surprisingly enough, I didn't really see any articles talking about this, but this is actually on FBI.gov. I will link this specific press release in the description of this video. But basically, this is it right here. So it says the FBI's Atlanta field office announced today the seizure of several online criminal marketplaces providing pirated versions of popular video games. So this is where it's kind of interesting. Several online marketplaces. So more than just this website. Yeah, it turns out it's actually more than just this one website. As I said in the very beginning, the NSW2U website seems to be the biggest one, but there were others that came with it. Basically, it says that all of these websites were up for more than 4 years now, so basically since 2020, and that between February and May of this year, so about a 3-month time span, there were a total of 3.2 million downloads that occurred on these sites from what it says is the most used download service. So I'm assuming these websites hosted like multiple download services. So it was 3.2 mil total just from the most popular service that was used to download stuff. I'm sure that the actual number was therefore probably even more than 3.2 million total. It says these actions resulted in an estimated loss of 170 million US dollars. And so what were these other websites? So it says as part of the actions announced today, the FBI has obtained authorization to seize the domain of multiple sites to include, and then it lists 7 domains. It looks like all 7 of these domains are basically taken down from the FBI. So the first one it lists obviously is the one I was talking about, NSW2U.com, but then there are 6 others. Just judging by the domain names, one seems to be another Nintendo Switch ROM site, and 2 of them actually seem to be a PS4 ROM site. Not quite sure about the other 3, but yes, there were multiple domains that were taken down, all in this same operation. And one last thing about this that's interesting is the last sentence where it says the FBI would like to thank the Dutch FIOD for their assistance in this investigation. Now, just looking this up, the FIOD is the Dutch Physical Information and Investigation Service. Basically, these are the people in the Netherlands that investigate financial crime and white-collar crime. I'm not exactly sure what the Netherlands had to do with this investigation. I'm only assuming that these websites were using like Dutch domains or Dutch servers to run on. Regardless, definitely an interesting story and a huge blow to video game pirates. It turns out the Avengers here were Nintendo, the FBI, FBI and the Netherlands. Very odd combination, but they did take down several piracy websites, the biggest of which being a Nintendo Switch ROM site, all in one big operation. And this is kind of in the general theme of Nintendo's war against piracy. Will stuff like this continue with these websites getting taken down? I don't know, but Nintendo seems to be very dedicated to making sure that this continues to happen.